Hello everyone, brand new edition of Kick Ons, the perfect way post-footy to launch into preview of a huge round, and it's Showdown week, so I really should be sitting in between these two. Port Adelaide great, Adelaide good. That's right, Kane Corns and Josh Jenkins. Kano, awesome to see you.
It's always good a Showdown week, Richo. Showdown specialist myself. JJ was as well. He was outstanding in Showdowns and very honest. When you hit the post, but they called it a goal. Honesty, JJ. Honesty.
Honest, JJ.
Yeah. Goal. No effective arc back then. So, great memories. I've only watched it 4 or 5 times this week. But, looking forward to talking about the Showdown later.
What about your week, though?
Well,
I don't want to start here. You don't want to pump up your own time.
That's the last thing I want to do.
But look at this.
Let us do it for you.
$27 winner.
Group 1 winner as well. That was a Group 1 race, was it not?
Well, it's the South Australian Derby, so I wanted to lift because I know that's your place, and I know you love the Derby.
I love the 3-year-olds, Richo.
Have a look at you. So back-to-back, of course, for the Phillies in that race, and there's our feed. Please follow us throughout.
Equally, though, Richo, when things are going well, we should say so.
Yep.
When things are I'm in an unbelievably dry spell.
Are you in a rut?
On the feed.
Right.
Whether it's the NBA, the AFL,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
Not a bad week.
Tough week, and also from our footy trip fund, I give it back to the skipper.
Thank you.
You're taking over for us, and also our predictions last week. Let's be honest with ourselves, we're 0 from 3, so we need to fight. But let's launch into a lot of topics. Can we start with the top 8? And I think Kano, you've thrown this on the agenda. The top 8 at the moment. So we're a third of the way through. Will it change moving forward?
I think there's only one spot, which is a lot of footy left to be played for one spot. So I think the Giants are probably a little bit vulnerable. But the top 7, as we're looking at this, there's the market to make the top 8. Fremantle, I don't know. Who knows with them? Sydney's probably the same. Carlton are inconsistent. I don't think St Kilda are good enough. And then Port Adelaide last week getting smashed by the Bulldogs by 90 points.
So who jumps into the 8 for you? If there's only one change.
I think it's probably pretty set. I think the top 8 is set. I think the Giants get there in the end. And
We're
those
a long
teams
way
that we
out from
just
the
mentioned,
end.
Yeah, we are. I mean, Fremantle could get on a run, but they've been smashed 3 times this year. That's not a team that is likely to play finals if that happens. Port Adelaide the same. So I think the Giants are capable of getting it together. But yeah, I mean, it's not great, is it, that the top 8 is largely set this far out?
Well, we don't know that it is.
No,
we won't know until...
Do you think it's pretty rock solid?
I can't see a lot of change. Hopefully the Swans get in and the Doggies drop out. Then I'll have picked the perfect top 8.
Really?
I've got the other 7 right thus far, Richo.
Not actually about self-promotion.
Sorry. But look, we won't know. And it won't matter if it is set now because we won't know until the end of the year. There's still going to be upsets. There's still a lot of games where they're closely fought. And games like St Kilda and Carlton tomorrow night are going to mean a lot in terms of who does make a charge toward the top 8 and who doesn't.
TDK Cup and the Blue Baggers are going to bounce back and flex their muscles and actually say to TDK, are you kidding? Why would you want to leave this juggernaut?
Yeah, well, I mean, they want to play better, though, wouldn't
Okay,
they?
sure.
They really would. They were flat last week against Adelaide, which was a surprise from the previous week. But I just thought defensively they were poor. Their midfield just couldn't get it going. He wasn't effective. Cripps, Walsh the same. And Michael Voss, the pressure is going to start to rise. Considering their start to the year, they just can't afford to have performances like this. So JJ's right. When you come up against a side that is in a similar position to you on the ladder, this is almost an 8-point game for them this week.
Yeah, it's huge because, look, they lose, they drop to 3 and 6. And look, you can still make it from those positions. We've seen teams, Sydney did it, however many years ago from zipping 5, zipping 6. But your margin for error becomes so small because we've seen teams, almost every team has dropped a game this year where we thought, no, I didn't think you dropped that one.
Yeah.
So you now can't afford to do that when you get to 3 and 6. So I think Carlton will win the game. I really do. I think they're a better team. I think they got more top-end talent than the Saints, and I'd be disappointed if they didn't win the game.
Okay, and then also look at the other end, Brisbane. So we're in May. Do you want to be peaking now? Can you peak now in May and still win the Premiership in September?
I think they're in such a good position considering where they were last. This is scary for the rest of the competition. Like considering the way that their pre-season was shorter, the first game was cancelled, and the record that they had this time last year. So how do you beat them? Brisbane? Well, you got to match them in contests, and they just weren't able to do that. Gold Coast last week. There's the numbers. Top 5 for all those categories, top 3 in fact, and that is a great sign considering some players still to come back from injury. Loman and Kitty Coleman, if they can get him back, Tom Duday, so the depth that they've got.
Starcevic, hopefully.
This was an absolute beatdown, JJ.
Yeah, it was.
Smackdown.
Yeah, we spoke going in about, will this be the best Q clash of all time? Big brother versus little brother. Little brother wants to make a statement. And this was, I couldn't wait for the game all weekend. I thought this is going to be fantastic.
Fizzer.
Whatever happens, it's going to be great.
It was a fizzer.
It was a fizzer in terms of a showstopper.
Yeah.
But again, as someone, I love watching the Brisbane Lions play the game. I love their makeup of their team. They're now battle hardened. So that for a long time they were making prelim finals, they were getting home finals, but they couldn't quite get over the hump. Now they've been over the hump. They're a breath away from being back-to-back reigning premiers. And they're getting better and better personnel-wise. They're the best kicking efficiency team in the competition. They're number 5 for time in forward half. They're the second most experienced team in the comp now as well. And I was having a look at the coaches' votes. So 30 coaches' votes given out in any one game. They take 24.6 coaches' votes per game on average. They are totally dominating at the moment.
So why aren't they favourites?
Well, they are at 550.
Because we never see them.
Equal favourites with
Equal
Collingwood.
favourites.
Do you lock in 550 now, knowing they'll go even shorter?
If they get top 4, they don't leave the Gabba until grand final day, and they know the MCG doesn't hold any fears for them now. Like that's for an interstate side with the advantage that they've got at the Gabba to have 2 home finals there, a week off, and then see you on grand final day at the MCG. You're not going to get 550 again for the rest of the year.
At the risk of more love for oneself, I may have locked them in on the feed at $7.50 a little while ago. And I tell you what, it's not bad. Levi Ashcroft I know he's favourite. He continues to fly under the radar for the Rising Star as well. He 29 disposals in the
Is that the Ashcroft
clash.
medalist?
Yeah, no, Will picked that one
so
up.
he's the Ashcroft medalist.
Yeah.
There's only 2 eligible, isn't there?
Levi was just out in the wing picking up 30 as well. So they've got an embarrassment of riches.
So they will be smashing North Melbourne?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Good to see good to see North Melbourne Sunday night as well, where they belong.
Nice, mate.
Not on the Thursday night
nice.
stage. You belong on the Sunday stage at 4:40, and that's where you should live for a long, long time. You had your one opportunity, Richo, and they've gone the shush. See you on Sunday afternoon.
He wasn't shushing you. He was shushing the crowd. He's getting personal.
Jeez.
Okay, let's move to our next game. If any Kangaroo supporters are still watching us, Gold Coast versus the Bulldogs, and we are making our way to Darwin.
Yeah, you just cool your jets for a moment.
Yeah,
you're a little
calm down.
hot under the collar over there.
Kane.
This is Gold Coast have been really, really good up north. They've won their past 6 games up there. Destroyed Geelong, kicked 164 points in difficult conditions. Kane, you've played up there a lot. We'll get to that shortly. But Gold Coast on the rebound as well. They've got a rebound from their Q Clash loss. This is going to tell us a lot about the season for both teams.
Yeah, it will be. It's a great test for Gold Coast. I thought they were clearly poor with those numbers, and the Western Bulldogs midfield is where they are so strong. So Gold Coast got to respond to what they served up against Brisbane. We're seeing these numbers here. The Bulldogs are absolutely flying, and they just, speaking of a smackdown, they smacked it down to Port Adelaide and their midfield, which is their strength. So they're in a really good spot. We spoke about Tim English last week and his response. He was enormous again. Record amount of score involvements, and Ed Richards is, I think, the number 1 rated player in football right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Just on English, I think he's a real benefactor of the Dogs being forced to go a bit smaller in their front half. Typically they've got 3 key forwards. He hasn't got any space. He's a running athletic ruckman. He likes to roam back and take intercept marks, roam forward, particularly down the fat side of the ground and take a few marks. When there's 3 tall forwards, there's no room for him to do that. Now that there's room for him to do it, you're seeing him get involved. 17 score involvements. I know Max Gawn played a great game, but that was some performance from English.
Real challenge for Matt Rao. Richo was tagged heavily by Dunkley. In fact, the second week in a row he's been tagged. Now, they still were able to win without him against Sydney, but not this time. And so round 10, 2022, the last time he's had under 15 touches and 1 clearance. It's only happened 4 times in his career. one clearance, and I'm assuming a couple of those he was injured. So good opportunity for him to respond. Every good young midfielder goes through this, where you can get the footy on your own and you can influence, then the opposition start putting some time into you. So I don't think the Western Bulldogs will tag him, but it's a good opportunity for him to respond.
Probably head-to-head with Libba, I reckon, at contest. That's a good matchup.
I'm backing that in, though. I love that.
Yeah.
I love 212 for 25
Yeah,
plus.
Noah Anderson, I thought started the season on fire. I don't know if his last 3 or 4 have been, I don't know whether he's been in the best 3 or 4 players on the ground. Had 42 and 2 in Darwin against the Cats last year. Unbelievable game. So he'll be looking to bounce back as well, the skipper.
I've always wondered who the TO games record holder is.
Have you?
Yeah.
Always wondering who that is.
You lay awake at night thinking
Kane
about that.
Corns.
Well, hang on.
Games record holder. With 10.
He's equal first. Why haven't we given Daniel Pearce, I believe?
Piercy.
Why haven't we given Daniel Pearce a bit of...
Who?
And why... I'm 2-0 at the stadium. Why haven't I?
He's got all,
not on the show,
He's got
Piercy.
all the receipts today, hasn't he?
2-0 you are.
No,
What are
that's,
you? What's your
0
record?
out of 0.
I'm a fan favourite up there. They love me. They love me.
Who's going to tag Zach Merrett this week? That's an interesting question.
It's not a hard question.
He is flying. It'll be JJ.
Jimmy Jordon will get the job.
The real JJ.
It cost North Melbourne the game, I reckon.
You
last week.
were big on this.
Oh, well, I mean, I couldn't. He was always going to be the one player. If it was to be a close game, Zach Merrett is always the one for Essendon that will be the difference maker. If Essendon win, Zach Merrett will have had a big hand in it. So the Roos let themselves down, probably cost themselves a game in not doing so. But James Jordon has a fantastic record on Zach Merrett. So put yourself in the shoes of Zach Merrett. We know that you've done what James Jordan's done for a long time. How does Merrett beat him, and how to Essendon help Merrett beat him?
Got to give him the first opportunity just to run him into the ground early and get him going early. So
But that takes time,
if
does
that
it not?
requires a few cheapies early, a few 1-2s to get him into the game and get Zach feeling better about himself, it's a full team effort for them to help their captain who's been so good. So there's got to be blocks at stoppage, there's got to be blocks around the ground, you've got to be physically into Jordan, but most importantly, you've got to give Zach the ball every time he's in the opportunity to receive that. Now, if that doesn't work, then you try other things. You try off the back of the square. You might try half back, you might try half forward, which he's pretty good at doing. But it does put some responsibility onto the other younger Essendon midfielders to step up because they will know and be prepared for this to come.
That run with role, who was the hardest that you ever had to run with, and what would you do if you're Zach Merrett? What's your instructions?
Yeah.
How do you get rid of you?
I've spoken to Zach Merrett a couple of times about this, and he's such a diligent student of the game.
Yeah.
And he's asked questions about that. So you've got to stay on the move all the time. Like Simon Black was the best. Never stand stationary.
Right.
Always on the move. You just got to really work almost doubly hard if you're getting this attention. So there's that. In terms of the hardest, I always thought Gary Ablett Jr. was so
He
hard.
ran so hard.
That, but he was just a genius at predicting where the ball was going to go, and they looked after him like they should.
They did.
They
Yep.
gave him the odd cheapie and got him into the game, the 1-2. If he needs to go take a kick out, he would do that. And Boomer Harvey was the other one as well, just because of his forward craft. He could go forward and really, if you're a stopper in the midfield, but I didn't have the sort of nous to play as a deep defender, whereas he could expose me that way.
Oh, it's a great insight, mate. Can we go down the highway? It's going to be an interesting game. The mighty Cats.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, it's
Giants
the
are in
house
trouble.
of. It's been the house of the Giants. The Giants have won the past 4.
What does history mean? That doesn't mean anything.
Well, they're pretty
to the new
recent.
team, does
These
it?
games are pretty recent. 2024 was last year, last time I checked. 2023 was the year before that. So
Very different team, though, JJ.
Well, not that different. Jesse Hogan took over in... Jack Riccardi actually bobbed up and kicked 4 in that game last year for the Giants. So it is a place... A lot of those players will have played in some or all of those games. So it's a place where... Now, most of us used to go down to the GMHBA Stadium and think, geez, this is going to be good fun. We're barely going to see the ball. We're probably not going to win. I never won a game there. So for the Giants, at least they take confidence.
Are you worried about the skipper for the Giants?
Yes, yeah, definitely. Now it's a sustained period, a prolonged period of below par form for Toby Green.
Been flat for 3 rounds.
Yeah, but
He's a champ. Won't he fight back?
And I've watched all 3 of those games closely. It's been his lack of that he would never cough the ball up in that situation. Actually, I think he actually won himself a free kick there, but. Look, we all miss goals. We all kick the ball, out on the floor.
His finishing and his decision making in front of goal has been very
looking for a free kick straight away there. That was really well handled. The umpires are copying it at the moment. I'll give them some love. Like, that was really well handled. Like, his first instinct there to me, as a player out of confidence, was to go to ground and look for a free kick. I've got very little doubt. I won't say no doubt. I've got little doubt that he'll find his best form, but they need it soon.
Yep, there you go. 2+ goals, $1.75 and 3+. They probably need him to kick 3 for them to win.
I'm trying to think of his matchup for
Guthrie,
the Cats.
maybe.
Yeah, probably Zach Guthrie.
Cats are looking good, aren't they? But as we've seen, any team that's got a full belly seems to perform poorly, and anyone that's hungry. We might get to that. There you go. Hey, shot clock. Let's put 30 seconds on the clock, and this is a tough one. I'll start with you. Greatest ruck of all time?
I don't know if it is that tough. I just think it's now becoming more obvious that Max Gawn is the greatest. Now, there's those in the 80s that would mention the Maddens and things like that, but I didn't see that closely enough. So from certainly my time, he's the best. He's in line for an 8th All-Australian Blazer, which is amazing.
I can confirm Simon Madden was my ruck coach at Essendon. He does think he was the greatest ruckman of all time. He's one of the greats of all.
Hall of Fame, 378 games.
The most difficult player I ever had to ruck against was Aaron Sandilands for obvious reasons. So he gets forgotten about. I reckon his best footy was pretty damn good.
Taking a shot for the... thinking about Jack Crisp here. The siren goes, who do you want the ball in the hands of?
Well, am I going to trust my life in the hands of someone else? I'm going to line up and kick it for myself.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not, because I can't make the distance. So I'm going to go with my man Tex, I think. From distance.
What
not
a
from,
turn of events.
If it was if it was 30, inside 30, I'd probably go the Fog or Nick Larkey. But I think from 48 metres out or on the stroke of 50, I think my man Tex.
Josh Jenkins, 59.55%. Kane Corns, 51.95%.
It's not great, is it?
93
Finally.
goals, 86 points.
That's disaster.
After the siren for your life, Tony Lockett going at 69.74%, if you don't mind. Should the Bulldogs re-sign Bennett?
No. What's the point? Why? Why now? Just cool your jets. Just wait. No one can steal him in the middle.
Take your own advice,
Okay,
mate. Cool your jets on a
can-
few things.
No one can steal him in the middle of the year. Just wait. That's what they
Hold.
said they were going to do at the start of the year. That's what he said. That's what the club said. I'm not sure why all of a sudden he's putting the pressure on the club and the club's having to respond to this every week in the media.
He probably hasn't handled it because he's already come out and said, I either coach the Dogs or no one. So
there's no rush.
No. If another club comes and offers him and chases him, do you blink if you're the Dogs?
Yeah, I just think you hold. Right?
Yeah.
It would be pretty foolish of him to say that and then go take another job.
Time's up.
Been
William
there for a
Wallace
long time.
said it best, didn't he? Hold.
Exactly right.
Hold at all
I'm
times.
not a movie buff, so that went straight over my
Braveheart, one of the
Please,
classics.
what are we dealing? You don't even know Braveheart.
Hasn't
if you
seen
don't-
Braveheart. Well, put that on the shot clock.
I thought the movie was named after you, big boy. We're losing time here. Bailey Smith. Are the Dogs actually salty on him, or is it all just manufactured?
I hope not. I need to spend 5 seconds on this. I hope not. It's theatre. Good response from Bont, and I can't wait for round 11.
Correct.
They are. I think they are salty. There's no doubt. I think Bont doesn't engage in that type of conversation unless there's a little bit of salt.
Unfollowed him on Instagram as well, the Bont.
Wow.
Yes, so that's when you know. That's when you know
That's
they're
what
not happy.
matters.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And that'll hurt him too because he's got 400,000.
Favourite showdown memories? Yours.
I loved the Angus Monfries goal, the bounce.
Right.
Yeah. I recall 2016 round 2, we're up by 51 at half time. I'd kicked 4 and I said to Tommy Lynch, I'm going to win the bloody showdown medal. I've got no individual accolades. I'm going to win the medal. Didn't touch it the second half. Lynchy kicked 6 and won the medal. So there you go.
So you early crowed yourself.
Yeah, I early crowed myself.
It is a real thing. Quick break. You're watching Kick Ons. Hey, I'll tell you what, we will delve into the showdown next. You're watching Kick Ons. We're going to talk Showdown, perfectly placed. 4 times runner-up in the Showdown medal between the three of you. The three of us, I should say. Kane, who wins and why?
I think Adelaide win. They're just so well stacked, and the way that they are playing in terms of their defence and their system that they're playing with, but also just the talent in the lineup, particularly front of centre. And I just love the way that he used Rankin, Rochelle and Dawson on the weekend. Dawson with the 3 goals was huge. So I just think there's more talent in Adelaide's squad, and they've got more confidence in the way that they're playing. So that price is about right.
No, I'm taking Port Adelaide
Really?
head to head here. Yeah, I just believe in their bounce back spot. I think I've seen enough footy this year to know a team that's been stung in the tail the week previous versus a team who might be feeling good about themselves. Now, I know a Showdown's different, and you're going to have to stop these 2 guys because they're going forward and they're having an impact. Rankin and Dawson, 5 goals between them against the Blues last week. Matchup wise, who would take those 2 guys?
Well,
there's
Miles Bergman's there, and Lachie Jones would probably be the other ones when they go forward. But I just thought Matty Nix's use of these 2, and gee, it helps when Rochelle's back in form. That was his best game for the year. He spent actually some more time on ball, and that got him going. But it's the triple threat. So we've spoken a lot about the tools in the Thilseeker, Walker and the Fog, but it was the smalls that got them. They took 20 marks inside forward 50, but only 5 between the 3 talls. And it was the smalls that did the damage. So, yeah, I think if the Adelaide's midfield can hold up and you have the luxury of putting these guys forward, then that's another weapon that they've got.
And it's Port's home Showdown. I always thought that was worth, it's worth a goal.
Why?
Well, it's full of Port fans.
Check that out. The big key about Port. will the Port who beat Hawthorn play?
We don't know.
Or the other Port?
I don't know. That's the problem with this Port Adelaide
How would
side.
you know?
They need a motivational boost to get themselves up. Now, the Showdown comes at a good time, doesn't it? But gee, it's a long season if you are requiring a sort of psychological boost to get yourself up for a game.
Sting in the tail. Talk to me.
Well, I just believe in teams who have been stung, who have had a really embarrassing performance, have had people like Kane all week, talk about how poor they were. Others, but Kane's the primary voice. So I think Carlton, now they are favourites, Carlton. I think they'll definitely take care of the Saints. But don't be surprised. I reckon 2 of Gold Coast, Port or the Giants can win. They're all outsiders. They're all underdogs in their respective matchups. Would not surprise me if at least 2 of those 3 win.
Okay. Who's on notice?
Well, let's go to this because he's an All-Australian, and I just think he's been flat, and it's
Dylan Moore.
It's gone under the radar a little bit this year. So Dylan Moore was subbed out now. I think that's more just for management, but certainly not impacting the way that he has last year. I love him as a player. I thought so instrumental in the way that Hawthorn play and crucial to their ball movement. Gets up the ground, then gets back. Works harder than anyone, but he's having a flat year. So he's on notice. I think he might respond with a huge game, 3+6, 25. But he's a 20-touch, 2-goal guy. He goes into the game thinking, I'm going to get 20 touches and kick 2 goals. His numbers have been nowhere near that this year, and the Hawks need him firing.
I love it.
Cool.
Kane.
Well, I tell you what, I try and keep up with everything our man does. Now, he has been called Kanga Kane.
Yes,
at different
that's right.
stages. That's your nickname for him. I'm calling him Kane the Troll. Because I was having a look at his work on afl.com.au. I love the company, man.
Yes.
Got the sports bet footy there. You probably pump it up if
Where's
you
the
wouldn't
Kick
mind.
Ons one?
Have a look up beside the 2/3. A kangaroo scarf.
That's
you are the
mean-spirited.
most disingenuous man I've ever met.
Do you know what I'm going to get this week? You saw the Connor Rosie sort of bobblehead.
Yeah.
You saw the Sean Darcy one with the strapped up
Yeah,
knee.
we saw it, mate. Yeah.
I want a Clarko one. Can someone get me a Clarko one or a Harry Sheasel one?
Mate,
Can we?
just be nice.
Can we? No,
Make a
I wanna
bobblehead
celebrate
out of
them.
your big bonts if you don't mind. Quick break, Kick-Ons on the other side. Newspaper has dropped. Headlines.
Another one, 5 in a row for the Giants at the Cattery.
What rivalry? Crows dominant again. Crows own SA, making it 4 out of 5 for the Showdown.
TDK, why would you want to leave the mighty Blues after the big bounce back against the Saints? Footy trip, we're in your hands.
We're in
Skipper.
Zach Butters' hands. 30 plus, all our eggs in the Zach Butters basket in the Showdown this week. Come on.
Come on, Zachy boy, $2.40 there. And also our multi, JJ, lead us away.
Well, I think the Giants will win, so I'll take them plus about 2 goals.
Matt Rowder bounce back with 25
And
plus.
Jezza to kick 3, if you don't mind, down at the Cattery.
Let's go. We need to get one up. Come on.
Come on now, get around us. I hope you enjoyed the show. Join us on the feed. You've been watching Kick Ons.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.